Crawling, an invertebrate perspective on sex and popular music. The Arthropocene Collective. 1984, what Rolling Stone has called pop's greatest year, produced a string of chart-topping R&B singles that have become classics of the genre today. Rockwell's Somebody's Watching Me, Denise Williams' Let's Hear It for the Boy, Ray Parker Jr.'s Ghostbusters, just to name a few. It's easy to go through the Billboard Hot R&B charts from 1984 and find Saturdays where the top songs are all unanimously recognized and loved and continue to be played regularly on the radio today. Take, for instance, November 10th and 17th, both of which had the same top 5 R&B singles. Chaka Khan, I Feel For You, New Edition, Cool It Now, Stevie Wonder, I Just Called to Say I Love You, Rebbie Jackson, Centipede, Prince and the Revolution, Purple Rain. Hold on, Centipede? Among top R&B singles of 1984, Rebbie Jackson's Centipede stands out as one that has been largely forgotten in the annals of popular music. Although Centipede peaked at number 4 on the Hot R&B charts, number 24 on the Hot 100, and was even recognized by Rolling Stone as the number 58 best single of 1984, we've met very few people who have even heard of it, and we've only once heard it on a classic pop station. In fact, it seems that the only way we could hear Centipede on the radio today would be a chance encounter with a rerun of Casey Kasem's Top 40 from between November 17, 1984 and January 5, 1985. And this is astonishing, really, because on paper, Rebbie Jackson's Centipede has several qualities that would seem to add up to a pop classic. First of all, when we say Rebbie Jackson, that's Jackson as in the Jackson family, as in Michael and Janet and Tito and Jermaine's oldest sibling Rebbie. Centipede, the title track from Rebbie's debut album, Centipede, released when she was 34 years old, was the long-awaited musical breakout for Rebbie, who had entered the music industry much later than her siblings, and had to this point only played small roles on the Jacksons' variety show and sung backup throughout the late 70s. So naturally, there was a lot of hype for Centipede on its release, but on top of that, it had an all-star production team. The song was written, produced, and arranged by Michael Jackson, who also provided backup vocals alongside the Weather Girls, most famous for their 1982 single, It's Raining Men, but also renowned backup singers having started their career as Sylvester's backup group 2 Tons of Fun. And it all comes together beautifully into a funky, sensual, and genuinely solid pop song. Specifically, the deep minimal bass line and intricate drum programming lay down a catchy, groovy backbone, and then the layers of funky guitar and weird, ethereal synth really fill in the production and energize the song. There's even a flugelhorn that comes in so sparsely as to be tasteful that really rounds things out. Rebbie's voice is great, she can belt. There's some raw, sensual energy to it. Truly, it's an impeccably arranged, produced, and executed pop song. So why, among the other great pop singles of 1984, has Centipede been lost to time? Perhaps the disappearance of Centipede from the pop music zeitgeist might have something to do with the lyrical content of the song. The reviews we've found on Centipede tend to praise the song from a production perspective, but characterize the lyrics as somewhere between strange, unsettling, and nonsensical. People magazine says, quote, "It is an essentially dumb song, but Michael's arrangement more than compensates, blending John Barnes' eerie synthesizer figures with some spectacular background vocalists," unquote, ultimately admitting that, quote, "If it's all much ado about nothing, it's enjoyable ado," unquote. Rolling Stone tackles the lyrics directly, attempting a lazy psychoanalysis of Michael Jackson in the process. Quote, "As sinuous and vocally self-assured as any Jackson family record, not made or fronted by Michael, his squeal-prone eldest sibling's first and highest hit was nonetheless written and produced by him. And his repressed, tormented sexuality runs through its slithering electro-funk. You crawled into the bathroom window to bite him with your love, like a smooth criminal, only here the metaphor is a creepy-crawly arthropod with way too many legs, a hot one for some reason, that turns into a snake in the final verse," unquote. And sure, that makes sense. It's a sort of sexy song about a centipede and a snake, and the lyrics just don't make sense when you first listen to them. But even so, pop lyrics aren't generally great poetry, so it's not totally clear to us that essentially dumb lyrics can be a sufficient reason for the failure of any pop song to cultivate a lasting legacy. Adding to the conundrum that is Centipede is the existence of a music video comparable to the lyrics in its absurdity. For added context, note that the Centipede official video has been viewed 3.7 million times on YouTube, whereas the video for Purple Rain, which charted just below Centipede on November 10th and 17th, 1984, has been viewed 161 million times. Centipede's music video starts with a woman leading a tour through a museum, stopping to comment on a painting of a younger woman in a red dress, arms contorted, descending a staircase. Quote, "And now, ladies and gentlemen, the museum's most treasured masterpiece, Centipede, a portrait of a woman with true romance and beauty. Tonight she will come back to show the world her special powers," unquote. It should be noted that museum tour guides don't generally talk about paintings without talking about their artists, and the subjects of the paintings, a woman named Centipede here, also don't generally come back on any given night to show the world their special powers. The appositive, a portrait of a woman, makes it clear that the centipede truly is a metaphor, although a literal scolopendra does appear at 1 minute and 11 seconds, but what the centipede has to do with true romance and beauty is still unclear. The music video was a bizarre montage featuring not only stock footage of centipedes crawling, but also a rubber cobra and a real live tiger, not mentioned in any lyrics, prowling around a crowd of men in tuxedos. Rebbie's dancing and facial expressions appear to be inspired by the threatening aggression and general creepiness of the titular centipede, but definitely sexual at the same time. It's strange. The music video is strange, the song is strange, its relationship to actual centipedes, and the song's disappearance from the sound of 1984. It's all strange, so much so that it's begging to be analyzed. So perhaps some unpacking of the song itself will help us to understand what happened to this sexy summer single. Let's take a look at these lyrics.
Centipede. Centipede. Your love is like a raging fire. Oh, you're a snake that's on the loose. The strike is your desire. But when the centipede is hot, you're bound to feel the fire, huh? And when the centipede is hot, you're bound to feel the fire. I feel, oh yeah, a longing for your touch. Like you crawled into the bathroom window to give him all your love, ho. Like a centipede that's hot, the fire is in your touch. Just like a centipede you've got a lot of loving to touch. Don't you know, in the quiet of the night is when the snake is in the crawling, and the moon starts to glow then disappear. When the time is really right is when the centipede is crawling. You'll be crying in the night so many tears, and you're crawling like a centipede. Centipede.
And it continues with repetitions and permutations on these images. First obvious question, what's so sexy about a centipede? There's a seemingly romantic scene in these lyrics, and it features two characters, you and him. So let's look at how you and him interact and through what metaphors. Your love is like a raging fire is a cliche and deserving of no additional consideration. Just remember the basic equation, fire equals love, which we can also interpret as heat equals sexual arousal. You're a snake that's on the loose, and the strike is your desire, suggests that you is the pursuer. Snakes, like centipedes, aren't generally regarded as sexy, but the metaphor at least makes sense. The snake as primal desire is definitely not unique in pop music. Recall the anaconda. We digress here momentarily to point out the obvious, that while snakes are creepy crawlies, they are also penis-shaped, and are thus a safe and classic metaphor for sexual desire. It's a bit more of a stretch to map a centipede to a penis. But then you is not only a snake, but also a centipede. Just like a centipede, you've got a lot of lovin' to touch. You is so full of love, just like a centipede, so much so that it's palpable, suggesting that it's common knowledge that centipedes have got a lot of lovin' to touch. So then you, the centipede, is crawling, like a centipede, into the bathroom window to give him all your love. And maybe without the centipede imagery, we can see another sexy cliche here. You is the pursuer, so let's say maybe you is on the prowl, crawling on all fours like a big cat maybe, like the tiger in the music video. And sexy clandestine things happen in the bathroom sometimes. This is a popular image seen in Samuel R. Delany novels and the like. But bring the centipede back to the scene, and that big cat crawling on all fours, evoking the image of sexy bathroom sex, turns into a creepy crawly centipede, crawling on all 42s, literally through the bathroom window and along the bathroom wall, because that's one of the main places we tend to see centipedes. Numerous studies have demonstrated that various species of centipede prefer damp surfaces and/or high humidity environments like bathroom walls. Side note, from J.G.E. Lewis's The Biology of Centipedes, quote, in a series of choice chamber experiments, Weil, 1958, showed that Necrophloriophagous longicornis preferred high humidities, see figure 100. Sensitivity is greater at high humidities, unquote. This may explain why the centipede is aroused and has so much lovin' to touch after she has crawled through the window into the steamy, humid bathroom. So clearly, the song implies that the centipede is sexual. It's hot, it's full of sexual desire, and the tone of the song would imply that the image of the centipede is sexy, if the audience is meant to identify with you, the centipede, as the pronoun would suggest. Yet to our knowledge, there is no folk model under which this sexy centipede scene can be consistent with an audience's worldview. So why does Rebbie think that centipedes are sexy? Is it a stretch to bring up the old trope that hetero men are attracted to women with long legs, that women are frequently objectified by metonymizing them to their legs, a nice pair of gams, as it were, and to juxtapose this with the overwhelming legginess of centipedes? Centipedes of the order Geophilomorpha have between 31 and 181 pairs of legs, whereas Scolopendromorpha have 21 or 23 pairs, and Lithobiomorpha and Scutogeromorpha both have 15 pairs. Note that in locomotion, when the legs are long relative to the length of the segment, crossing over by consecutive legs is virtually unavoidable and in these animals takes place during the recovery stroke. Recall Sharon Stone in Basic Instinct during the recovery stroke, and consider the sexiness of a house centipede running across your bathroom wall. Yes, it's probably a stretch. Recall that we've already shown how Rebbie has interpolated the centipede as a big cat by way of the snake, and there are definitely many examples of feline seductiveness. Think Eartha Kitt as Catwoman, and variations on that theme. But there's perhaps more to the centipede-cat parallelism than meets the eye. Big cats and centipedes are both mostly nocturnal hunters, after all. Several educational videos about centipedes belabor the point of comparing centipede hygiene to feline hygiene. Centipedes, like cats, are extremely hygienic animals. Cleaning or grooming behavior occurs in all centipedes. Scutagera coleoptrata, the house centipede, cleans its antennae and legs with its mouthparts, just like a cat. Notice the feline qualities in the following description. Quote, "The antennae and legs are gripped by the poison claws, brought up to the mouthparts and drawn through them from base to tip. The tarsi of legs 1 through 6 are particularly thoroughly cleaned. The appendages may be lubricated by the secretions of the head glands. The cleaning behavior is performed on a simple and strictly fixed schedule. It commences with an antenna, followed by the 1st to 15th legs of the same side. Immediately afterwards, cleaning is resumed on the other side in exactly the same order. If, for any reason, the animal temporarily ceases cleaning, it resumes with the leg immediately following that last cleaned. Even after its amputation, the animal still attempts to clean the leg." Unquote. Just like a cat. Imagine a woman licking her leg clean. Now she's a cat. Now she's a centipede. Hot, right?